Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music, and I'm back with the second track from Terrain. We're going to do a playthrough, take a look at the harmonic language, some of the rhythmic ideas. Perhaps most importantly, we're going to look at the proportions of how things fit and flow, because this, more than any other of the tracks on the album, is progressive. It really takes us on a little bit of a journey. Let's take a look at that journey now. Nice. So here we are in the screen, and you can see that I've got the one tonal instrument, the Swarmitar, up. Here's a D minor chord. As I increase mod 1, it goes more and more out of tune. Well, Paul Koch has just very graciously created for us this instrument for free in Contact. As you can see, he's recorded a bunch of guitar long tones and then programmed them in to create a swarming sound, like kind of an EBow texture. Yeah, really grateful to him for that. He's done a few others as well, clarinets, acoustic guitars, great programming, great guy. It's worth visiting his channel. Well, the Swarmitar forms the basis for the harmonic language of this piece, but there are a few other tracks, drums, which fade in and out. They go away by the halfway point, and some live bass. Recorded the Kala U bass. It's a ukulele bass with rubbery strings as thick as a pencil. Super fun. Play it all the time. I use the Kala U bass when I want an acoustic sound, and it's great for my theater compositions and just fun when you're jamming with people. It's not loud unless you plug it in, of course, but once you plug it in, it's like playing kind of has an upright sort of quality. Well, the Swarmitron, let's take a look over here, is going through, well, quite a few plugins. Both the L-Ray, which is a compressor, and Decapitator are adding saturation. Then we've got some taming EQ, panning, spread, which is just a plugin from Logic, which sends different frequency ranges to different sides of the stereo field. And then the tremolator, which is just giving us a little pulse. Well, let's take a look at this. We'll just roll it from the beginning. The feeling of being in D minor is established right away. And it feels like a kind of a rock Dorian D minor because of the use of the alternating G and E. So it's kind of like a C chord versus the D minor chord. And then we finally do get a C up at the top. The C sounds like the 7th of D minor because the 2-note phrase has now become a 3-note phrase. And we've actually used a lot of 3-note phrases as we've been talking about things. Well, now we're into the scroll here. The drums have been getting a little more complicated and a bit louder and louder. All these chords are 3-note chords. There are no duplicate tones in the triads. And I think that's important for managing voice leading and especially for managing dissonance. With progressive pieces, progressive EDM or house or progressive ambient music, as this track is, a sense of proportion is crucial. Consider the entire length of the track against the sections. We're at 2 minutes now, and it's definitely time for some sort of rotation. And so the density shift, how much is happening at one time, drops. It's a breakdown, if you will. And I built a little central pivot into this piece. And the central pivot is these 5 chords here. Again, it feels D minor, C, doesn't it? I love that the C chord is built over an E. And now we're really fading out the bass and the drums, and we're going to be left alone with just this string sound. The last 2 minutes of the piece really has a different harmonic focus. The D drone is still there, but now the A minor center actually becomes more important. There's a note on top there. There it is. What felt like a C chord now feels like the A minor, and there's a plaintive feeling. Now, you probably know this, but of course, A is the 5 of D, the dominant. It's not really a dominant chord here, but the 5 of our tonic chord in a piece is a really important location. And it's going to give us a sense of moving forward, a sense that we're not resolved. The E here against the D is a fairly strong dissonance. There you really hear it as a strong dissonance, because there's a D here. As the second piece, as the second track on an album, I don't want a listener to switch off and say, I'm done. I want the ear to be led forward. And so not just an E to move us forward, but also a strongly dissonant tone, B. Here it comes. We don't really feel like we're done yet. This is a very ambiguous tonality. We end on an E, a B, and a D. It's not really a triad. You don't have to end your pieces with a button. You don't always have to come home to one. In fact, European classical composers of the 18th and 19th centuries used these differing key levels to create sections of these longer pieces, symphonies and piano sonatas. Actually, reintroducing themes at different key levels perks the ear up and keeps your listener curious. What's going to happen next? How is that going to resolve? That sense of questioning is enlivening, even with music which is essentially tranquil. It's fun for me to analyze this because, of course, while I plan things carefully, I'm also acting intuitively when I record, right? It's about what I'm interested in. It's about what comes up for me in the moment. So I hope this has been useful for you too. I'm grateful for the support you guys are giving this channel. It's doing really well. Leave a comment. Let me know what you're working on. Like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.